Hello, Spiritual Collective. So I wanted to do another talk here right now about your psychic development, the way in which you may receive psychic messages, really. Ways that they may pop up, show up for you. Again, everyone's different. Some people may have things show up a certain way or happen a certain way more than others. It just depends on what works for you, and many have different ways in which this happens. So one way in which you may receive messages, premonitions, or thinking about things well before they happen. And this can happen a couple of days, a couple of days, whatever, before this incident happens. And usually this takes on it's more about you thinking about something out of seemingly nowhere, and possibly thinking about it a bit, and then you let it go, or you don't think about it, and then a couple of days it happens. This could also be with looking at things. I've often as well, I've had it where I've like what I just mentioned, where I'd be thinking about something, and then lo and behold, a couple of days later that thing is happening, and I was like, wait, didn't I just have that thought about, like, yeah, that was very odd. But also too about like looking at things and thinking about things. Your eyes might be drawn towards something, for whatever reason, you don't know. You're just drawn to that thing more than usual, and you may look at it and you may have a thought about it, like, oh, well, this needs to be done. Or maybe you don't even have a thought pertaining to this item, and the next day or a day or two later, that thing is being addressed. That item is being maybe I need an example here of how this manifests. But oftentimes the item or the thing that you were thinking about or the thing that you were looking at, even if you didn't have the thought pertaining, you were just drawn to that thing, and then you notice, like, oh, that's why I was so drawn to looking at that and staring at it, and I wasn't knowing why I was so drawn to it. You may be even able to, you may have thoughts about natural occurrences in the world. A common one here is earthquakes. So I've often been able to think of one before it would happen, right? You think or feel one happen, you know, in your thoughts before it occurs. This often happens. So you're also thinking and you're feeling. So your thoughts are affected. You're drawn to things in a certain magnetic way more than usual. You can kind of feel and think of something with some kind of urgency. There's always usually a fixation about it that will predate what actually happens. Again, everyone has their own way. So then, of course, there's the dreaming. And with dreaming is interesting because you get even more messages, and you really can also tap into collective unconscious states, right? And thoughts and events happening, right? through dreaming. You can dream of the future. Yes, you can. Is it always super easy to do when you do it all the time? Probably not. But it can happen. I've had this happen once when I was young, before I was super. Like, I've always been drawn to the mystical. I've always been drawn to magic and witchcraft and that sort of thing. And, but even before I was officially, like, practicing, I did have an incident where I did dream something, and the next day the thing happened exactly as I dreamt it. So that does happen. Again, I'm not doing this topic enough justice. I guess I don't have enough examples to really flesh it out, but I don't really want to give a lot of my life situations really out at this time. So, knowing that you have these psychic premonitions and how they might show up for you. Another one is taste. This happens to me like, usually I can, like, sometimes I'll be able to predict dinner when I'm working. My partner cooks, so I don't know, but sometimes I can taste it before I get home. Like, I can taste it all day, and something like super strong. Not all the time, but sometimes I can call it because I can taste it. So it's usually something that has to do with you and your proximity that you're going to, like, really tap into. And sometimes you can tap into world events too, but more than likely, most of the things that you're going to be tapping into, it is about you, your surroundings. Something about your subconscious is tapping into these things that may be important to you for whatever reason. It's in your proximity. It's around your place. You know, it's something you enjoy or you find important. So again, this is just kind of a skimming video on a topic that really is in depth and really needs a lot more focus on it, but I just thought I'd bring it up just because it's really been kicking lately. And with the reading I just did, it's going to open up even more. So you might want to get that psychic journal and jot these down, because of all the things that you do realize that you can call and that you can predict, there's things that are going under the radar that you're maybe calling that you just don't know because you're not really acknowledging them. And especially this comes with being around people, and this can get confusing too, because the more people you're around, let's say you work in a very fast-paced, very population-heavy work environment, you can be picking things up off people. And then that's very interesting too. That may be a little harder, especially with numbers, but that can also be an issue as well. I do know that also I am able to, a lot of the times now, predict when someone is going to try to throw something at me. When they do their little things, I can usually feel when it's about to happen. I kind of can feel, especially when they get close, I can tell, like, when someone's going to try something, usually. I've called it quite a few times where I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, and I've had, in my past, I've had things happen where I saw things in my head before they, like, in the moment, that would actually saved me. Like, a lot of things also too, these premonitions, these dream premonitions, or these things that you see, or these things that you feel, a strong feeling like, oh, I remember, it's so long ago, one time I was eating at a restaurant and I kept looking towards my car at the time out in the window. I'm like, for some reason I felt like it wasn't safe. I'm like, why do I keep feeling like I gotta look at why am I drawn? A week later, my car was stolen. What I should have done was went over and bought, like, a locking device for my steering wheel, but I didn't, and I should have, because the feeling was so strong. Okay? Things like that. In the moment. And this was also really long time ago, where I was walking with someone, and we were walking down a canal back where we used to live, and I heard this car, and in my head I saw crosshairs, like the crosshairs of like a rifle gun in my head. And it wasn't long after that he's like, get down, run. And we ran. I guess they were speeding up, and we had ran off into a nearby street. And he's like, yeah, they had a gun. He's saying it was like possibly a BB gun, rifle. I don't know what it was, but they were. But I saw that in my head before he even said anything. Like in a mental picture. So you get these mental pictures. It's something that's either going to save you, warn you, let you know of something. And sometimes it's not really warning you, but something that could be of concern to you about your surroundings. You know, I once got a clear vision in my third eye upon waking for quite some moment of like the manhole. And a couple of days later, they were working on the streets in our neighborhood. So it's things like that. Things like that that have something to do with your life. And then, of course, you get into other spiritual visions that have more of a spiritual meaning that you kind of have to decipher. And that's a different video. But again, I'm not doing this video as much justice as I would like. But these are just some ways. Do you feel yourself being called to think, are you drawn to something that you just kind of stare at for no reason for a long time? Do you find yourself fixated in thought? Does a thought come out of nowhere and you can visualize something, or you can taste something, or you can hear something, and then later on it happens. Okay? You're being told, you're getting these communications. Your subconscious is tapping into something. So it's definitely something to explore for yourself. It's definitely something to get a journal and explore how it works for you on your level, and see how many times that you've called something and that you've been like on it. Okay? So I just thought I'd do a little video about that because it's been kind of coming into the forefront lately, and I thought I'd like to just have a chat about that. So stay true to yourself, and until next time, peace.